Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your week ahead general with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, as always, you know I love you for it. So with that said, before we start, the only announcement that I have left is to say a massive thank you so much for all of you that pledged towards my Kickstarter. If you're watching this on the day that I put it out, there's probably a day left for you to get one of those goodies. And also on the 21st of December, I have my winter solstice alignment activation session. Given everything that's happening on this one and all the buzz that's been about it, you want to get your seat. You can do that on the link in the description box below. We will be talking about the obviously the conjunction itself. We'll be talking about how this interacts with or speaks to you on the level of your human design profile. I have a very special guest for that. On top of that, I will be talking about the spiritual aspect of the solstice itself and its symbolism. And if that wasn't enough to go beyond that, there's also going to be a future life progression element to this. So if you've ever wanted one with me, think of past life regression, where you go into your personal past. Well, this is about going into your future. So if you want to take a look at what your next year is going to be like and what you might need to know about it in advance to sidestep your challenges and speed up your blessings, this is the session that you need to book. It's a fraction of the cost of an actual FLP session or future life progression session with myself. The link is in the description bar below. So with that said, before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So with that said, let's get into it. For the message for the week this week, when I went into my intuition, it was really interesting because at first what I could see was like almost like a needle point, and it was piercing through like a veil or a fog, and as it was piercing through, everything was just kind of like, you know, almost lightening it, like shying away from it, like something was piercing through the fog. That's the veil. That's the best way that I can explain it. And then what I saw was what I can only really describe as a maiden. You know, she had like a white dress on and she looked really young, fresh and pure and all of that stuff. But what I came to understand was obviously at this moment we're heading into something completely new, which means in a lot of ways all of us are going to represent that where we're going as a collective. We are now coming out of our infancy, but we're being reborn in some way. Each and every one of us in some way, shape or form is being reborn. And the way that I kind of saw this was we as a collective or the maiden represents the we as a collective. So what you were, who you were, what you've been, all of that was then, right? Where we go from here. Now, it's not like you're going to wake up on the 22nd and everything in the world will be different, but you get my point, right? You understand where I'm going with that. And what I kind of see is that if that person represents us, what she was doing was picking up all of the bits of her past, trinkets that should, now those of you that are spiritual or pagan orientated or witch orientated, you'll know what I'm talking about here. But she was going through and she was picking up all the things from her past that represented or meant something, all of the little gems of knowledge, wisdom and power that she'd gathered over the course of a lifetime, decided now to pull them together and use that to almost like to pierce through the veil. So gather your gems and pierce through the veil. Whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you intend, whatever it is that you decide for your life to be from here on in, you are in control of that now. And this is that moment, right? We all say like, oh, you know, I wish I was in charge. Well, this is the moment where the universe is going to provide the right conditions. What you do with that, how you shape it and what you pierce into the veil and what you put at the point of that is going to matter, right? So make sure that you use this energy and this power wisely for yourself. What do you want for the next 20 years? What do you want to set into motion for the next 60 years if you're going to be around that long? I think I'll be 60 years from now I'll be 95 if I manage to get there. So hey, why not? That'd be cool. All right, so for our direction card this week, we have the Wheel of Fortune. The words fate, I heard this in Transformers, very trivial, I know, but it speaks to this now, I believe. The words fate rarely calls upon us at a moment of our choosing really seem to be apt right now. And if this were the moment, right, the Wheel of Fortune, when it comes up, is luck, it's success, it's abundance, it's the rewards and the efforts for everything that you've already sown or everything that you've already put in. This would be, literally that moment where you start to see the results of the things that you've wrought. What are the seeds that you've planted? Because this week you're going to see just a sprout. It's not going to be fully formed or fully fledged, but you're going to get an understanding or even a flavor of what this is going to look like for you, and more importantly, what you put into that now, what you put into it, what you intend, what you put your energy, your thoughts, your time, your attention, your power to at this moment in time. It matters. So pay attention to what comes up this week. Pay attention to the results of where you've been, right? So consider this week kind of like a straddle week, right? At the 21st, obviously, as we start this week, that's a big day. It's going to matter what you do. But the 21st and this whole week as well actually is going to show you what you've wrought up until this moment and what is coming back at you now. This also suggests to me as well, for all of us in some way, shape or form, if we are on earth and incarnated right now, there is a gift from the universe. There is some sort of present, some sort of gift, some sort of bestowing that is coming from the heavens that's going to pour down over us, and it's going to be different for all of us. So the synchronicity that shows up for you this week is unique to you, your path, your journey, your gems, what it is that you've collected from your past, the knowledge that you've gathered, the things that you've known and been. That's all unique to you. And what it's going to be, what you intend to bring into the world is going to be unique to you. So pay attention to your synchronicities this week. This is not the week to be looking at somebody else's plate. This is not the week to be comparing yourself to somebody else. This is not the week to be focused on any... And a lot of people might think, oh, that sounds really selfish. It's not about being selfish. It's about being self-focused, and there's a difference. This is a week to know that, right? To be really, really sure of your own path, your own thoughts, your own feelings. I don't care if you've got a family, a wife, a partner, kids. It's not that I don't care. What I'm saying is this is a moment to be self-governing, self-focused, right? This is a moment to focus on what you're putting out into the world, what you're creating, what you're bringing into the world, what you're thinking, all of that, all right? I'll be quiet now because we're already at like 8 minutes. All right, for our direction card, how do we use this energy? All right, so we've got the Five of Cups. Okay, and what is the Five of Cups? In its traditional sense, this would be mourning. This would be the grief that we feel when we've had to release or let something go. What this actually feels like to me is you are going to realize this week what it is that you have to let go in order to have this, right? If you'll be able to see this week in probably clear, stark vision, what you envision for your life, what you want to be, where you want to go. You'll see this glowing, shining version of yourself. And that's right there ahead of you. And then you're going to have to think, but in order to get there, my baggage, my old worn out belief systems, my hurts, my wounds, all of that, I'm going to have to cleanse myself of that. What's the moral of the story with this card as well, right? It says that all the time you are focused on the 3 cups that have spilled. You're missing the fact that 2 are behind you. These are your gems, right? These are those things from your past, those moments that you thought that broke you, that actually made you who you are. The moments where you lost something and then came to realize, actually, if that had happened, I wouldn't have been able to become this, this, and this. Whatever your gems are, use them this week, observe them this week, focus on releasing what it is that you know. It no longer has space, time, or energy, or you maybe have none of those things for these things or even these connections in your life. Let them go with grace. The more you do so, the freer and the clearer you are going to be on that internal level. And here's one of the ways that this is going to work, right? I believe that in many ways we are rising and ascending as a collective, but you have to be here. If you were born on this planet, it means you are an earth-based life organism. Yes, we're evolving. Yes, all parts of us are being upgraded in some way, shape or form. But if you were born to earth, you came here to do something. You can't live off in that lofty space all of the time. You've got to keep your feet on the ground. And that's what the Five of Cups is asking you to do. Acknowledge what you have to release. Acknowledge what you have to let go. Feel the hurt that you might feel having to release something. Right? But don't let that stop you from taking the gems. Don't let that stop you from that higher, bigger, more wonderful version of yourself that you aspire to be, whatever that might be. And this isn't necessarily just about having more stuff. All right, it's about being, you know, it sounds really cliche nowadays because we've got all of this like, oh, you know, I'm living my best life. But the best version of you that you envision. Not that you're told should be the best version of you. For our insight as what's coming in, we've got the Page of Wands, right? So that maiden that I talked about, if you could characterize that as anyone, you may be one of the earth signs that I'm thinking about, but for me, that Page of Wands says it all. This is a time to tap into your creativity. This is a time for you to open up to your inner wisdom. This is a time for you to be bold and to be brave. It's about you really finding a way to give over to your passions. What are you passionate about? What do you truly desire in your life? What is it that you are here to create? This could be a week that really reveals to you what you are here for, what your purpose truly is, and nobody else can tell you that. Readers, astrologers, all of that, we can give you potentials and possibilities and give you signposts. That's what I believe I do. I'm like a cosmic signpost reader, not much more. Right? That's all we can give you. That true, yes, this is for me. Yes, that's resonating with me. That has to come from within. And the Page of Wands, even though it's a page, so it's like a relatively young and new energy, it has that ability to awaken and enliven within us the thing that makes us stir, the thing that we need to be moving towards. If you've got a book, if you've got a blog, if you've got something that you want to release out into the world that you want to share with people, this is a great week to start it. Maybe not finish it or culminate unless you're already at that point, in which case more power to you. But this is a week to really get to grips with that. And as an insight card, your Page of Wands, remember, these are very similar to aces, so these are new beginnings. Your Page of Wands coupled with the Wheel of Fortune, that is a synchronicity like no other. Pay attention this week to what shows up. Pay attention to what is coming into your life, and more importantly, pay attention to what is ready to change, what is ready to be released this week. It could be a very, very powerful week. You just got to be at, and when I say at the forefront of it, I think a lot of people get in their minds and they're like, oh, you know, what does he mean? Or like, you know, when we say like release something, it's like, oh, okay, well, I had a comment recently, and this is, I'm not, you know, dragging this person because it was a valid comment, but, you know, them saying, oh, you know, everybody keeps telling me I should be releasing something and I don't know what I'm supposed to release. Well, what have you released up until this point? Maybe that's what we've been talking about. Something that you've been working on, those incremental steps of release. You know, pay attention to that. And if you feel there is genuinely nothing, then let there be nothing. You know, just because we say that these are the energies you're working with doesn't mean that you have to be working with it. You might have already surpassed it, or maybe you're in that place where there isn't anything that you need to release. And if that's the case, give thanks for that and keep moving. Right? You know, don't let any of this stuff, anyone, even me, you know, question it all. Don't let any of it stop you in your tracks for what you feel is right for yourself. But this week, please, 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 Pay attention to the signs, pay attention to the synchronicities, listen to your inner gut and drive. And when I say your inner gut, this is not like an intuition. It's going to be like an internal, I need to do that. I need to do that. Even if it's like you say, right, I want to write my book, and you know that urge comes in and you only write 5 lines on a piece of paper. That is your moment. That's your cornerstone. That's the moment where you said, yes, this is what I'm doing with this energy. This is what I intend going forward, right? Whatever your gems are that you've gathered over a lifetime up until this point, they're all going to start to become relevant from this week onwards. Not here and now, flash in the pan. They're all going to start to become relevant. And I know this because for myself, exactly the same thing is happening. Like things that I thought of 3 and 5 years ago are now suddenly becoming, and I'm like, okay. So that, right? And you're turning it into something else. Pay attention this week. With that said, I will get off my soapbox and stop giving a sermon. I'm so sorry, but I'm really passionate about this one. And this one hit me really, really hard. So I truly hope that it helps you in some way, shape or form. Remember, be here. Don't be up there. Don't be out there. Be here. Be here, focused and centered in yourself. Stay focused on yourself. What do you want? What do you desire? What do you intend? Keep your focus there. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Take care, and I will see you soon.